After once again covering the rent out of my rainy day because my wife forgot to pay again, I came home with dinner from the gas station and a headache. She looked at the food and snorted, "You still managed to make poverty taste even more disgusting." Then she threw the food in the trash and added, "Try it tomorrow, you idiot." That night I realized I'm not her husband. I'm just a wallet with a pulse. And this morning she called in tears and begged. My name's Ethan. I'm 32 years old and I'm sitting in my car in the parking lot of a 24-hour grocery store. It's 2:43 a.m. and I can't bring myself to go home. The idea of stepping into that apartment again, into that chaos, that tension, makes my stomach twist. It's funny. You always read those posts online, people saying, "I just snapped one day." And you think, that's dramatic. But then it happens to you and you realize it's not drama. It's survival. Tonight broke something in me. Or maybe it woke something up. I honestly don't know. It started again with the rent. This is the third time in 6 months Maya forgot to pay it. She's not working. She hasn't worked in over a year. Her only job, literally her one and only financial responsibility, is transferring money from our shared bank account to the landlord's portal once a month. It takes less than 2 minutes. I found out we were late when my landlord texted me this morning about the $65 late fee. Another $65 gone, like the $130 we already wasted from the last 2 oopsies. It's money we don't have to throw around. But apparently I'm the only one who cares. I called Maya on my lunch break, which by the way was my only actual break during a 12-hour shift because 2 of my coworkers called out and my boss refuses to hire replacements. When she picked up, it was the same script I've heard 100 times. "Oh, I got distracted. The site wouldn't load. I just have so much on my plate right now." So much on her plate? She doesn't have a job. She spends her days watching Netflix and scrolling through TikTok. What exactly is so overwhelming? Once again, I had to pull from my emergency fund. It used to have almost $8,000 in it. Yeah? I checked it tonight, $712. That's what I have left after 2 years of emergencies like Maya forgetting rent, maxing out credit cards, or overdrawing the account on impulse buys. After work, I was starving. Hadn't eaten since 11 a.m. So I stopped by the gas station near our building. Grabbed a couple of those sad prepackaged sandwiches, a bag of chips, and 2 bottles of soda. It wasn't gourmet, but it was all I had the energy or money for. When I walked in at 8:20, Maya was where she always is, on the couch, in her pajamas, scrolling through her phone. The apartment looked like a tornado had passed through. Dirty dishes stacked in the sink, garbage overflowing, laundry I asked her to throw in the wash still untouched. The same pile. 3 days old at least. I didn't say anything. I didn't have the strength. I just dropped the gas station bag on the coffee table and muttered something like, "Got some dinner." Maya looked up for a second, glanced at the food, and scoffed. "Wow, you really know how to make poverty taste even worse." I froze. I actually froze. I couldn't move, couldn't speak, just stared at her. This was after I worked a 12-hour shift. After I paid rent again from what's left of my savings. After she contributed exactly 0 to our life again. Then she did it. She reached her arm across the table and shoved everything to the floor. The bag burst. Soda bottles rolled and burst open, spraying across the carpet. Chips scattered. Sandwiches face down on the rug. "Try harder tomorrow, genius," she said, already turning back to her phone. That was it. No yelling. No fight. Something just clicked inside me. It was like I'd been squinting at a blurry picture for years and suddenly it all came into focus. We've been married for 4 years and not once have I actually felt like her partner. I've been a wallet with a pulse. I've paid every bill. Covered every emergency. Bought every meal. In the beginning she was between jobs. Then it was finding her passion. Then the job market is brutal right now. Then burnout, mental health stress. The excuses evolved. The reality didn't. She didn't want to work. And I let it go on because I thought things would get better when she felt ready. Meanwhile, she kept ordering clothes, skincare, delivery, all the little luxuries that I sacrificed for. I ate instant noodles at work while she got takeout because cooking is too exhausting. Every time I brought it up, I was the villain. Controlling. Unsupportive. Financially abusive even. All for asking basic questions like, "Where's the money going? Do we need this? Can we plan a budget?" And now here I was, standing in the wreckage of my gas station dinner while soda soaked into a carpet that I, of course, would have to clean. I didn't say a word. I just walked out. Grabbed my keys. Got in the car. Drove without direction. Ended up here. In this empty parking lot under fluorescent lights, typing this out on my phone because honestly, I have no one else to talk to. Maya made sure of that. Over the years, my friends became bad influences. My family became toxic. One by one, I stopped calling people. Stopped going places. She called it us against the world. I think now it was just isolation disguised as love. My phone's been buzzing for over an hour now. First angry texts. Where the hell are you? Then guilt-tripping ones. I'm scared. Please come home. Then gaslighting. It was a joke, you're overreacting. And now, the soft manipulative ones. I'm sorry, baby. Please. I didn't mean it. Please come home. I haven't answered. Instead, I've been doing what I should have done years ago. Math. Cold, emotionless math. In the 4 years we've been married, I've contributed nearly $200,000 toward our shared expenses, rent, groceries, utilities, and her spending. She's put in maybe $18,000 total. That's being generous. And that's just the financial side. I haven't even calculated the emotional cost, the housework, the mental exhaustion, the lost friendships, the birthday parties and weddings I missed to pick up extra shifts. I think I've been in denial for 4 years, telling myself it'll get better once she finds a job, once we have more money, once she's less stressed, when, eventually. But tonight, watching her dump dinner on the floor and call me an idiot, that was the end of the illusion. There is no when. There is no better. This is who she is, and I'm finally ready to be done. Tomorrow, I'm opening a new bank account. I'm rerouting my direct deposit. I'm calling a lawyer. I don't know what Maya's going to do when the money dries up. Probably call her parents. The same ones she says are so terrible, but has no problem cashing their birthday checks. Maybe she'll finally get a job. Maybe she'll find someone else to fund her lifestyle. Either way, it won't be me. Not anymore. The next morning, I didn't waste time. I left the grocery store parking lot just before sunrise and drove straight to a credit union across town, a place Maya wouldn't even think to look. I walked into the branch still wearing yesterday's work uniform, my hair a mess, dark circles under my eyes. The woman at the front desk gave me a kind but knowing look as I explained in broken sentences that I needed to open new accounts, ones my wife couldn't access. I was embarrassed. Ashamed even. She didn't blink. Just slid a clipboard across the desk and said, "Take your time." That hit me harder than I expected. The way she said it like she'd seen this before. Like I wasn't the first guy to crawl in here with a broken heart and a wrecked bank account. By the time I left, I had a checking account, a savings account, and a plan. I rerouted my paycheck immediately. Fortunately, my next direct deposit wasn't scheduled for another 5 days, so there was still time to make sure Maya couldn't touch a penny. I left just enough money in our shared account to cover the next round of bills so she wouldn't immediately notice anything had changed. Then I went home. Not to confront her, not yet. Instead, I sat at the kitchen table with my laptop and started digging through 4 years of financial history. Bank statements, credit card transactions, Venmo transfers, PayPal receipts, Amazon orders. Everything. I built spreadsheets like my life depended on it. Every dollar spent, every payment missed, every little indulgence she never told me about. It took 3 days. I barely slept, fueled mostly by gas station coffee and spite. What I found made me physically sick. In the last 12 months alone, Maya had spent over $11,000 on clothes, makeup, skincare, and what I generously labeled personal items. That's almost $1,000 a month while I skipped lunches and worked overtime just to keep the lights on. And the credit card debt? Oh yeah. There was $8,300 spread across 2 cards I didn't even know she had opened. Every time she said, "I'll handle it," what she really meant was, "I'll ignore it and hope you don't notice." And I hadn't noticed. Because I trusted her. Idiot. I color-coded everything, printed it all out, tabbed sections with sticky notes. If I was going to burn my marriage to the ground, I was going to do it with receipts. 3 days after the gas station incident, I finally walked back into our apartment. It was different. The place was spotless. The dishes were done. The trash was taken out. Fresh flowers on the kitchen counter. The faint smell of lasagna, my favorite, filled the air. Maya was wearing makeup. Not the quick 5-minute Zoom call look, the expensive, meticulously blended makeup she only ever wore when she really, really wanted something. She met me at the door like nothing had happened. Big smile. Voice soft and sugary. Hey baby. I made dinner. I missed you. It was almost funny. If I hadn't just spent 3 days knee-deep in spreadsheets showing exactly how badly she'd screwed me over, I might have fallen for it. Instead, I sat down at the table, placed my binder of evidence between us, and opened it to the first page. She stared at it like it was a bomb. I spoke calmly. I explained that I knew about the credit card debt, that I had moved my paycheck, that I had calculated exactly how much of our bills I was willing to cover moving forward, 50%, no more, no less. If she wanted anything beyond the basics, she'd need to contribute. At first, she didn't say a word. Just blinked. Processing. Calculating. Trying to find an angle. Then came the tears. Big, gasping sobs. Makeup running. Shaking shoulders. The whole show. I sat there, hands folded in my lap, completely unmoved. Next came the accusations. I was abusive. I was heartless. I was destroying our marriage over a few mistakes. When that didn't work, she switched to promises. I'll get a job. I'll go back to school. I'll do better, I swear. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't argue. I just turned to page 23, the one with a detailed list of all the times over the past 4 years she had made those exact same promises. Dated. Categorized by excuse. That's when things really exploded. She screamed at me. Called me every name in the book. Accused me of being cheap, pathetic, a control freak. Said she stayed with me out of pity. The words stung. They always do when they're fresh. But this time, they didn't stick. Because for the first time, I saw her clearly. Not the woman I fell in love with. Not the partner I thought I had. But the person she actually was. I didn't sleep in our bed that night. I grabbed an old mattress from the storage closet, threw it on the floor of the spare room, and made myself what my friend Liam would later call a depression nest. It wasn't much. A mattress, a blanket, my laptop, a pile of clean clothes. But it was mine. And for the first time in years, I slept straight through the night. No panic. No dread. No waking up to check my bank account before the sun was even up. Just silence. And in that silence, a new thought bloomed. I deserve better than this. The next week was a strange kind of quiet. Maya didn't know what to do with me. 1 minute she was sugary sweet, making coffee in the mornings, asking how my day was going, trying to act like nothing had happened. The next minute she was cold, distant, slamming cabinet doors and throwing heavy sighs around like grenades. Then she switched again, suddenly pretending to be serious about finding a job. I caught her browsing job listings at the kitchen table, a notebook in front of her, taking notes. If I hadn't spent the last few days living like a ghost in the spare room, maybe I would have bought it. Instead, I kept my distance. Polite but detached. Minimal conversations. No arguments. No engagement. I'd read about it online, the gray rock method. Make yourself so boring and unreactive that manipulative people lose interest. Turns out it works. But the real shift came when the money actually dried up. About a week after I rerouted my paycheck, the cracks started to show. It began with small things. I overheard her in the living room one night trying to order food online. First one card declined. Then another. Then a third. She started muttering curses under her breath. The next morning, she tried to buy something online, I think clothes, and again, card declined. I heard her throw her phone on the couch and stomp off to the bedroom. Later that afternoon, I got an automated reminder our car insurance payment was due. Normally Maya handled it, pulling from the joint account. But now, there wasn't enough money left in there to cover it. She cornered me in the kitchen that evening, arms crossed, jaw tight. What's going on with our money? She demanded. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't even stop making my sandwich. I calmly explained. I'm paying my half of everything. Rent, utilities, groceries, car insurance. Exactly 50%. If you want spending money or extras, you'll need to contribute your half. The look on her face was almost comical. First confusion. Then shock. Then rage. Then calculation. All in about 15 seconds. For a second, I thought she might actually hit me. Her hands were clenched so tight her knuckles turned white. But instead, she stormed off, slamming the bedroom door so hard the frame rattled. 2 days later, I found a note on the kitchen counter. I'm staying with Aurora for a few days. I need space to think. She packed up her laptop, her makeup kit, and enough clothes for a week. And just like that, the apartment felt bigger. It was like her anger, her bitterness, her endless need for more had been physically taking up space. And now that she was gone, I could breathe again. I spent the first night alone watching TV on my laptop from the mattress on the floor, eating leftover Chinese takeout straight from the container. And for the first time in a long, long while, I wasn't scared. I wasn't worried about what bill she'd forget to pay. I wasn't anxious about a fight brewing. I wasn't waiting for the next passive-aggressive comment. I just sat there, full and tired and free. The next morning, I called my lawyer, a no-nonsense woman named Jessica who reminded me of my Aunt Carol. She didn't sugarcoat anything. "You're in a good spot, Ethan," she said after reviewing everything. "No kids, no house together. Joint debt sucks, but it's manageable. We'll file for legal separation first. Protect your assets. Split the debts proportionally. You'll come out okay." For the first time in months, I let myself believe it. That maybe, just maybe, I could get out of this without losing everything. Of course, I knew Maya wasn't going to let go easily. She wasn't the type to give up her meal ticket without a fight. But for once, I wasn't afraid of her anger. I had my binder. I had my separate accounts. I had a lawyer who had seen it all before. And, most importantly, I had clarity. I wasn't crazy for expecting a grown adult to act like a partner. I wasn't abusive for wanting basic respect. I wasn't selfish for protecting my future. That version of me, the one who second-guessed himself, who apologized for asking simple questions, who believed love meant sacrificing everything, had stayed behind the night Maya knocked my dinner onto the floor. And the man sitting on that floor mattress with a cheap sandwich and a free evening? He was done being a wallet with a heartbeat. He was ready to fight for himself. We agreed to meet at a coffee shop. Neutral ground. Maya picked it, some upscale little place downtown that sold $12 lattes and gluten-free muffins the size of my fist. I guess I shouldn't have been surprised. Even now, broke and desperate, she couldn't resist the appearance of luxury. When I walked in, she was already there. She looked like she'd stepped straight out of a sad indie film, messy hair that somehow still looked styled, mascara just slightly smudged, wearing that blue sweater I once told her brought out her eyes. For a second, just a second, I almost forgot why I was there. Old habits. Old lies. But then I remembered the gas station dinner. The late fees. The drained savings. The shouting. The loneliness. I sat down across from her without a word. She launched into her performance immediately. Tears. Apologies. Grand declarations about how much she loved me. How sorry she was. How she finally understood everything she'd done wrong. If she'd stopped there, maybe I would have felt a twinge of pity. But she couldn't help herself. The guilt trips started soon after. How lonely it was at Aurora's. How hard it was not having access to her cards. How she couldn't even buy basic things like groceries. And when that didn't work, the passive-aggressive digs started. Mentioning how her coworker Gage thought she was so strong and beautiful. How easy it would be to start over with someone who appreciated her. It was exhausting to listen to. But mostly, it was sad. Because somewhere in the middle of her speech, I realized she still didn't get it. It was never about the money. It was never about the credit cards or the missed rent payments. It was about respect. It was about partnership. It was about me needing to matter as much as she did. And in all her tears and threats and manipulations, she never once said, "I see you. I'm sorry I took you for granted." She only talked about what she lost. Never about who she lost. When she finally wound down, I pulled a folder from my backpack and slid it across the table. Inside was the separation agreement. Fair. Generous even. I had offered to take on 60% of the joint debt even though my spreadsheets proved she caused almost all of it. She didn't even read it. Just pushed it back toward me and said, "If you just stop being so petty about money, we could work through this." Petty. That's the word she used to describe 4 years of sacrifice, for years of being drained dry, for years of wondering if I was crazy for wanting something as simple as a teammate. I stood up. Didn't yell. Didn't throw anything. Didn't say a single cruel word. I just said, "Take care, Maya." And I walked out. I didn't look back. As I left, I could feel the stares of the other customers, awkward, pitying, curious. I didn't care. That was 37 days ago. Since then, my life has been chaos, but a good kind of chaos. I found a tiny studio apartment across town. Cheap rent, good water pressure, nobody slamming doors or criticizing my groceries. The first night there, I ate cheap Chinese takeout on a second-hand couch, watching YouTube on my laptop. And for the first time in years, I felt content. No drama. No anxiety. No walking on eggshells. Just peace. Aurora, Maya's old friend, even reached out after a few weeks. Turns out, after living with Maya for a few days, she started putting 2 and 2 together. Aurora apologized for believing Maya's lies. Said she saw firsthand how entitled and selfish Maya really was. Then Aurora did something I'll never forget. She handed me screenshots, texts, group chats, photos, proof that Maya had been mocking me behind my back for years, bragging about how she trained me to pay for everything, laughing about faking job hunts, calling me a walking paycheck. It should have made me furious. Instead, it just confirmed what I already knew deep down. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't asking for too much. I wasn't the villain of the story. I was just a guy who loved someone who didn't know how to love him back. The final twist came a few weeks later. Maya signed the separation papers without a fight. At first, I was shocked. Then Aurora sent me a message. Apparently, Maya had met some guy at a bar. Someone with a fancy watch and a nicer car. Someone who found her sob stories endearing. She found a new ATM. Of course, she wanted a quick, clean separation now. Part of me felt bad for the guy. But I didn't warn him. Some lessons you have to learn on your own. The divorce finalized last week. No drama. No court appearances. Just paperwork and a quiet stamp dissolved. It was weird. Anticlimactic. Empty and full at the same time. For years of my life, closed with a signature. I'm still adjusting. Sometimes I reach for my phone, ready to send her a funny meme or a random thought, only to remember there's no one there anymore. Sometimes I wake up thinking she's still next to me. But the gaps are getting wider. The memory's quieter. I'm cooking real meals now. I'm fixing my credit. I'm rebuilding the friendships I lost. Most importantly, I'm building a life where my value isn't measured by how much money I can hand over. A life that's mine. Last night, I ordered delivery again, a cheap pizza from the place down the block. I tipped 20%. Because some of us know what it's like to work hard and still feel invisible. And as I sat there, alone on my cheap couch, watching old reruns on my laptop, I realized something. I'm not rich. I'm not healed. I'm not even close to having it all figured out. But for the first time in years, I'm free. And honestly, that's worth everything.